Having an always-on organic plan first. Because if you're just only posting paid things, I feel like it's very disingenuous to your audience. There is like a reward system to posting consistently. One quality post a week and then scale it from there. However, if you're in a different vertical, like if you're sports, you need to post multiple times a day. We've seen over the last few years just a change in behavior for how people engage with content. So you might not have as many likes or comments, but you have a ton of shares. That's a win to me.
This is Between Two Pixels, the podcast for anyone who wants to reach and connect with their audience through content and marketing.
Welcome to this episode of the Between Two Pixels podcast. My name's Josh, and I'm joined today by Katie Gillen.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Good. So you are our VP of Marketing and Strategy.
Note the title change.
At Between Pixels. So one of the things that you're over is social media, obviously, for us and our clients. So I thought it might be fun to talk a little bit more about social. We've obviously done one episode on social, but things change constantly.
There's more to say.
So much more to say. So I'm just going to ask you some stuff, and we're just going to riff for a bit and see what happens, see if it's helpful for everyone who's listening and watching. So in your opinion, what's the state of social media right now? Where are we at? I get a lot of the same things nowadays because the algorithm just knows what I want, and it just pumps me just stand-up comedians and products that I'm searching, and it's really good at giving me products that I want. But for a brand that we would work with, where what do they need to know? It's so confusing. It's so much content out there. So what's the state of social right now?
I think the state of social is a little bit chaotic right now. I feel like we've been on the TikTok ban watch for the past 2 quarters, honestly, to see the fate of TikTok in the United States, which it seems to be fine. I feel like everyone freaked out and we were like, it's not going away. We're good. It's actually fine. But I think it was a big wake-up call for people to invest in all the social channels. Mm-hmm. So making sure you have an Instagram account that's active, YouTube Shorts, Facebook. If you're into X or Blue Sky, depending on what kind of brand you have, LinkedIn. Making sure you're doing all of those channels, Pinterest even, because I think people panicked if they only had a really strong audience on TikTok and it goes away. What do? You lost everyone. And then also, too, all of the apps are creating new products that go with them. So Instagram, for example, now has the Edits app. Mm-hmm. So they're making their own editing platforms for their apps. So I think we're going to start to see a push where brands are going to have to upload things through the Edits app so it is marked that way in the algorithm, because they're going to prioritize their own apps performing well. Mm-hmm. So more algorithm wars, I think, is kind of where we're at right now.
That is so interesting. So you kind of touched on something there with TikTok. As far as, I don't know if this is the time to talk about it or not, but let's just say, okay, TikTok, Instagram, where does the most sticky content come from? Because I see a lot of times see things get reposted, or it might be trends that came from TikTok that are now moved over to Instagram. Does it go the other way, or is it basically TikTok is kind of the source for a lot of things, and then those things get played on other channels?
I think TikTok's a source because everyone's like, oh, I saw that on TikTok already, or I'm late to the game, I'm on Reels, I'm gonna see this TikTok in a year from now, basically, or weeks. Now it's getting shorter. I think it used to be months before something from TikTok went to Instagram, and now it's they're a couple weeks behind and it's the same trends. But I think TikTok almost feels like more of a testing ground. I read something somewhere where someone said, I worry about posting on Instagram, but I feel more comfortable posting on TikTok. And I think that's why it's more sticky, because people are willing to do the crazy stuff, the stuff that's embarrassing, cringe, if you will.
Yeah.
And because they're testing it, because they're putting themselves out there, it's real, it's authentic, it's working there. And then when it's vetted, it's making its way to Instagram because
That's
it feels
funny.
more polished and it needs to be perfect and aesthetic.
That's what we like think about when we think about Instagram, right? It's just like the polished, perfect stuff.
Curated life.
Yeah. So that is interesting. That's kind of what I was wondering, but also just in general of like the trends. Like a lot of those come from TikTok.
Absolutely. I think the trends are coming from there, and I think people are having an easier time. I'm not saying it's easy. It's definitely hard to do this, but building a loyal following. You'll see some massive influencers or creators have huge TikTok following, and their Instagram following is lagging to get to that point because it took a couple viral videos on TikTok. All of a sudden, they have all these followers and great engagement and great views, and it just seems like it's harder to achieve that on Instagram as a platform.
Yeah. Okay, that is interesting. So another one that I kind of wanted to touch on was like organic versus paid.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I kind of touched on this at the beginning, but I actually really like paid content. You know, if the algorithm knows this is what you should be served up, or it's not even the algorithm, honestly, it's the ad structure when you're placing an ad. It knows enough about me that I'd want something. So I start
no privacy.
Yeah, jeez. I start researching something, you know, like I've mentioned in another episode, you know, that I was into running. And so when I start doing research on anything, it could be like running products, shoes, support gear, whatever it is, races. It's like, oh, he just dropped into this category. It just knows I was over here searching on my phone for this other thing. And then all of a sudden it starts feeding me stuff. And it's usually stuff I want. And I can actually rely on the paid ads to filter me things. Now, when I click on it and I look at their product, then I go to their site and I'm like, probably not. Like that's because you'll get so much of the same stuff, people just making the same things. But then you'll get also like really unique stuff. They're like, oh no, this I actually really like. This is perfect for me. So I just let those things come in. I'm like, let's go. Come on. Give me what I want. Let me not have to go out and research it. Yeah. And so I don't always have to purchase it. But I don't mind when the ads come in and they're tailored to exactly what I've been searching. So that doesn't necessarily bother me. But I'm just wondering from your perspective, like what's the mix of paid versus organic? Where's the biggest bang for the buck? Because we produce both things for clients. So like, how does that work? And then how are they different? How are they the same sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely. I think having an always on organic plan first, because if you're just only posting paid things, I feel like it's very disingenuous to your audience. And I think there is a good strategy behind putting money behind content that's already doing well as like a paid tactic. So if you're on Instagram, for example, you post something and you get a notification, this is outperforming your other posts within the past 24 hours, go ahead and throw money behind it because you already know it works. And so you're going to have a lower cost per click or per view. So I definitely recommend that. I will say we're seeing a lot of changes in the paid space in terms of like privacy laws and things like that. There are creators sharing things about how to remove all your data or have Meta not have the ability to track you as well or serve you up as many things. And it's really fascinating if you go in the back end and see like all the things that your information has been linked to. It's frightening, quite frankly.
I love it.
But it's perfect to you. For me, I looked at it.
As long as there's not a data leak.
I was shocked and I was like, when did I engage with like all these random chaotic things? So there's like a mix of that. And then companies like Apple who are like, we want you to be private. We're going to protect your privacy. We want to share your information. And then marketers like us who are like, no, we please need all these things to target. So I think people are having to be a little more creative. So we're seeing more content around influencers or people endorsing products. And that's doing really well. Where if you're on TikTok and someone's like, look at me in this dress, it looks so great. And you can shop it right from their link. And like they're getting affiliate money, but it's helping the brand overall. Or brands paying the influencers to promote the product or have codes and things like that. I think we're seeing more of that because there's this inherent like, I really trust this influencer for some reason, so maybe I will buy the product, and less of like, here's a snazzy commercial. I will say if it is like custom content by the brand on their channels, we're seeing shorter stuff perform best on paid. So like 6 seconds to 15 seconds, and you have to somehow get your story across in that little amount of time.
That's interesting. Like what in that, like what, as I know there was a time when it was like the super scroll, you know, Things change so much, but you know, on those paid, I've seen like the things that stick with me a lot of times is it can even be an image. It doesn't even have to be video.
Yeah.
But it would be like a person talking, and it is like really quick up front, and then it's like over, and you're like ready to scroll down and look and then go to the next thing. It just has to be like super engaging. It was similar like when we talked about we've talked before about YouTube, and it's like this similar thing. It's like the first few seconds are like, am I going to commit to this or not?
That's it.
It's almost like the same mindset. It's just everyone has attention deficit, and like you just have to like give it to them quick, right?
No, you do. I feel like I wrote something in our social Slack channel the other day, and I was like, what's the hook? What's the CTA? Like, you got to get to it immediately.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can make this really cool video, but no one cared because they didn't watch the first 3 seconds.
It's so funny you say that, because that is the entire reason why Between Pixels went from being a production company to a marketing company. Like in 2012 or 2013, in 2012, like right after we started, we were like, I'm so tired of us delivering content to brands and then them coming back and saying, your video wasn't good, no one watched it. We put it on our website and no one went to it. We're like, oh, we have to, well, what's your website look like? You know?
Oh, it's really bad. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so it's like, what's your messaging? And then we just started trying to get in those conversations. We didn't even want to get into those conversations, but they would say, well, your video actually really communicated the message really well. Can you do our website? And we were like, well, we don't do them, but I guess we can figure it out. And that's when we're like, maybe we should get into marketing. It seems like maybe that's the right call. And so now we're, obviously much more substantially skilled at it than we were 11, 12 years ago. So yeah, it's super interesting. Things never change. One of the things I was going to ask you was about the content type and mix, I guess. So there's lots of different ways to think about it. I do 100% agree with you. If you're going to place ads, your site needs great organic content too. Mm-hmm. I mean, your site, like your channel. So your site needs to be good too, by the way, also your website. But if you go, and your brand, but the channel needs to look legit, and so you need engagement going on and great helpful things and all that. But there's like a difference between say producing something that just looks, maybe this is a question around like brand voice for social. So creating beautiful looking things where you're like, oh, this is on brand and it looks great and it just looks polished and nice and it fits the brand guide, so it just looks good. People might be like, oh, it might feel more promotional.
Yeah.
But then there's like fun and entertaining, but it still mixes with the brand. I think Ryanair, does like a good job with that, right?
Absolutely.
But then there'd be more like the kind of stuff that we're doing now on our channel, which is more like trends. So it's like we're almost producing what feels like to me like little mini like webisodes or something. It's like you're getting to meet our staff, but you're meeting them through these like trends. Yeah. So it's like, we just pick one, like we did the Severance trend. Like that was awesome, just all kinds of different things like that. Yeah. Severance. Oh, so, that kind of thing. So talk to me a little bit about that, because, sometimes that can be risky. And I felt like some of us maybe thought that was risky at first for us, because we're like, well, we're like, we do all this corporate stuff and right? So we needed to like produce like really polished up, like buttoned up content on social and not as casual. But I think the casual thing has like really helped us a lot. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, how does a brand navigate that?
I think figure out what your brand voice is and like how comfortable are you? Like if you're a healthcare brand, how funny can you be? Like legally even, how comfortable do you feel going and pushing the envelope? I think it's important to have some human voice element to a brand, because that's what people are gravitating to. And that's why we did more of this sort of skit funny content, because one, I did think it could show off our brand. We can write, we can edit, we can shoot, we can put strategy behind it. Even though you're watching, you're like, this is just a funny Severance video, you probably didn't think through like, oh, it did all these other things that showed our suite of marketing skills.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're seeing more of those like produced things. I'm seeing a makeup brand right now, Tower, and they hired a comedian to do fully produced like skits around different products. And it was like the common pitfalls or like quirky things that could happen with your makeup and why you should use their products. And obviously there's product placement in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it talks about almost like their value props of why should you use this blush? Okay, well, it's long lasting. It doesn't make you look insane like a clown. It did all those things, but like in a funny, engaging way that I actually watched it. I think normally it'd be like, okay, cool, it's blush. So what?
Yeah.
But it's like putting it in these like fun skits that actually have a voice makes you want to engage with it. But I think too, making sure you figure out like, are you funny and snarky? Are you relatable? Are you more emotive and sentimental? And then like running with that lane.
Yeah. That is really interesting, because I remember thinking several years ago, like as YouTube took off, and it's like, in order for brands to engage, just pondering on it, like, will they need to be more entertaining? And I think that's kind of what you're saying right there.
Yeah,
right?
like that person, the makeup brand, it is a full like mini show, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
There's graphics, the way it's shot, there's actors, the comedic script of it all. I'll have to show you this after so you can see it, but it's like, this is so much more than like a single social video or like a social series. It's like beyond produce. Yeah. I do think you can overproduce in social. Like there is that fine line of like, am I doing this? Does it make sense? Are people engaging with it? Versus everything's so overproduced and polished, it comes off not authentic and almost fake and too commercial and too ad-lib.
Yeah, so that is an interesting thing. It's like there's this, what is the right mix of, because I know that I feel like there was this kind of pivot away from overproduced for a bit, where it was like, it just needs to be like no mic, shot on your phone, like authentic, just that, versus like what you're saying there, which is like more polished. So there's like a balance where it's like, what is up with that? Like, how does that work? Like, when is it one and when is it the other? And has it changed, or is it?
It's changed. And it's funny because we talk about this all the time, where I'll have to give like a definition of a word to our team where it's like, it needs to feel organic. Okay, well, what does organic mean? And so a lot of it is like, it needs to look really good, but there's like movement, or there's a lot of camera angle changes, and like the audio quality is still good, but you don't see the mics, like little things like that. So it is more produced, but it doesn't come off as like, this was a commercial that we shot and it looks very professional. It's like, maybe there's a jerky camera movement, or like a jump cut, or multiple angles that are spliced really quickly together, and like text pops up. Like University of Florida does like student podcasts, and their videos are great because there's constantly things flashing on the screen. Like it's well done, but it also is so casual because it's like a SpongeBob meme flashed on the screen, and then like they zoomed in on the person's face really creepily close, and it makes you laugh. Yes, exactly.
Okay. Well, and so this is kind of another question in that same vein, but I know that it's like this on YouTube sometimes, that the trend, and I don't know if I'm going to say this correctly, but it's like the style of edit, maybe the gear that you use, the lighting, all of these things become like a visual language that says, I'm a good creator. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the clip-on mic where the mic is shown that I'm wearing one of those big fuzzy
Rode mics.
Yeah, or the DJI one or whatever. And it's these podcast mics, for example. These Shure SM7s. Yeah, these are like the podcast mic. So it's like, oh, we're doing a podcast, so we have to have these mics. So there's certain things that how much does that play into it? Does that play into it?
It does. And it's funny. I was talking about this the other day with our team. I'm okay seeing the mic, depending on what we're filming. If it's supposed to be a very personal piece and like you're teaching me how to cook something, I almost want to see the mic. Or you're like walking me through how to do something. If it's like a skit, I don't want to see the mic.
Yeah.
It's like the scenario dictates it. But if you want to signal like, this is almost like an influencer, this is almost like someone just like in their kitchen talking to me, then I want to see the mic.
I want to see the mic. I can even hold it like this
There we go. Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah, I mean, it's all those things that, if you're someone like me who kind of cut their teeth in the traditional film, and you as well, it's like those are things you'd never see.
Oh my gosh, to see a wire.
Yeah.
I used to be like, oh my gosh, you would like deduct points on an assignment in college if you saw the wire of the law. Now it's like you need to see the law.
The other thing is jump cuts too.
Yes.
It's like the jump cuts like keep you engaged, and we would never show jump cuts.
Oh my gosh, no. Now I'm like, I want to see a jump cut.
I better see a jump
insane.
cut. Yeah.
What happened to us?
So I think that's funny. So what are some things that people can do then? I mean, and then how does AI play into this?
Oh my goodness.
Do we want to talk about that?
We could talk a little about AI. First things for people to do: testing your content. I think Instagram, for example, has made it even easier because you can literally run a test where it will serve up your content to not your followers. So you can try something totally crazy, see if it works with like non-followers, then it will serve it up to your followers. So it's like a safe entry point. So like experimenting with different content types and seeing what works, looking at your analytics. Please look at your analytics. Like you can see when your people are most active online. What were they viewing the most? When did they drop off and what they were viewing? What stuff's getting shared a lot? Because I think we've seen over the last few years just a change in behavior for how people engage with content. So you might not have as many likes or comments, but you have a ton of shares. That's a win to me. People want to have more anonymity on the internet now. So it's like you might not have any engagement in terms of likes and comments, but you can have like 500 shares. And that's great to me.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. That was, I know for me personally, like, it's like, do you want to comment on something? Because then once you comment, you're like out there, like, how do I even retract this
on like
comment?
This comedy thing, but like maybe it's offensive. So I like don't want to be associated.
Right. So but anything. So like and on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So I've just given up on it and I just comment on stuff all over the place. Just so I'd be like,
brands appreciate you and creators.
Yeah. And I know, and it is because I want people to comment on our stuff. And I do, and I'm just like, you know what? It's just fine. It's just part of it. It's like, this is now the reality. Like, that's how I kind of think about it. If I'm going to be in this community, I just want to be like an observer. And I kind of treat it like that.
Yeah.
So I treat like my feed, like I'm a part of the community, that my feed is people who are obviously like-minded. I start seeing like, oh, this person that I am friends with is also getting
engaging
this content.
Actually helps. So if you're a brand or like your account and you want to grow your base and your engagement, we're actually seeing these crazy phenomenon right now, especially on Instagram, where it's like engagement packs. They're calling them packs. It's like a gang where basically it's like you and 10 other people, we could get together and be like, we're going to be in a WhatsApp group. And every time I post a new piece of content, I'm going to let you know. And then you're going to comment on it. And you can see it actually, it's happening right now in the Atlanta creator community where all the foodie bloggers all comment on each other's stuff.
Yeah.
And you can actually clock it now. And I don't know if it's because I'm too deep in social and marketing that I clock it.
Yeah.
But you can start to notice it, but it helps their post perform better.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Well, and I think one of the things that just annoys me about the algorithm in general is that now it's like, you have your little groups of people you share stuff with, right? Here's this reel, ha ha ha, right? Well, now I share it and the algorithm knows they want it and they've already seen it by the time I share it. So then it's actually that algorithm feeding people what they want. It now is ruining the community aspect of it.
Yes.
Because I want to share this and I'm like, I already seen it.
I know, I feel bad. I
went so far down the rabbit hole because I was like vegging out. I was like, ha 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 ha, just like just going through all these stand-up comedians.
Or if you're in DMs and like someone already shared it before you, and it's like, oh, Josh already shared that. You're really late.
Yeah,
to the game.
I shared that on a different one. And I was like, it's like, so you don't want to overburden people.
Yeah.
I have to, so yeah, it's that part of it's not great because I'm like, no, but that's what's fun. That's what was fun about it 6 months, a year ago, is I would be like, oh, check this, like, oh man, it's so funny.
Now it's going to have to change again.
Seen it.
We're going to have to adapt. But then we touched briefly for a second AI.
Yep.
The new weirdo thing we're seeing, which deeply concerns me about the state of humanity, quite honestly, is that there are things on Instagram and Facebook where it's like, chat with this AI bot about hiking. Rather than engage in a real community, chat with this AI bot about hiking. It's like AI creators where it's just this AI account.
Yeah.
And we've seen some agencies do it where it's like they create a model. And I don't know if maybe this is all a social experiment and we're going to see a Netflix documentary like 5 years from now on this thing.
Yeah.
But they curate this like model and it's actually an AI. The entire experience is this AI model, bot, what have you, in different scenarios, racking up 1 million plus followers. Like, it's crazy to me. But they're almost wanting people to like converse with the bots versus their own communities. So that's a weird thing that we're going to have to try and navigate.
Are you a Snapchat user?
I'm not.
So I mean,
it's too much
a
for me.
Different. But yeah, it's they have that. They've had that over there. You can just talk to it like an AI. You're just like, hey, people just like talk to it like it's their friend. Just like, I'm sad. Tell me something happy. You know, I mean, you can do whatever.
I'm so worried.
Yeah. I know it's another thing on the AI. Like we are. I don't want to say we're deep into AI here, but we're pretty deep into like what works.
We're actually AI right now.
Yeah, this is not a real podcast. I could replace me. I could replace me with an AI clone and still keep my voice, and no one would know. But yeah, we do some of that stuff from a voice cloning, creation, video cloning in the right time. And we've talked about that in other episodes, but I'm just wondering, like, there's certain things you can do with AI tools to help you speed up your process. In fact, we use a tool to help us super speedily edit this podcast. And it really gets things moving in the right direction. So there are a lot of good tools out there. But I know that we still, for the most part, write our copy with human brains, right?
Yeah.
So and we're not necessarily delving into all of that, but there are aspects of AI that can definitely help, because the things you're talking about, it's like to post on every channel. If you need to post on every channel, they probably need to be, there's certain tweaks that need to happen.
Even copy tweaks. Like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with, like, for the expediency of time or adding variation using AI, or even like if you're editing, some of the editing apps you can use will help you denote where the beat in the song is so you can clip or cut easier. I don't like AI for the generation of concepting, because one thing I noticed, and especially in the social space, particularly LinkedIn, is everyone's using AI and the prompts are so similar that you can see like 20 posts with the exact same thing written. And I'm like, I'm kind of baffled how you guys all coached AI to say the exact same thing. Like, that's wild to me. But you see a lot of that where it's like, it's not an original concept. Mm-hmm. And is there really an original concept? No, but like, we have to put our own flavor on it still.
I think you can I think some great solutions for it are, it's not even necessarily you could use it on Instagram, but like for your podcast, cut downs for shorts on YouTube. Yeah. It's great. We use Descript. Descript. I love Descript. It's basically like you're editing video content, but you're doing it as if you're editing a Word document. So there's all these commands you can scrub through. And then it will summarize for you. It'll basically all the things that are kind of a pain in the butt to do for like a YouTube post. But and then it will like, populate, hey, give me like shorts out of this, and it'll find good topics. You can just delete the ones you don't like. So for Instagram, if you're pumping out, like you do have more of like a podcast, like content creator, that's a little different than like for what we're doing that's more intentional for a brand. I think it's different when you're like, it's like the content is the sticky thing, not the topic, and the content is just the vehicle for the words that are being said. Like, that's different. It's like podcasts are like that. It's like, oh, what are they talking about? It doesn't really matter if like the cut down is like so perfect. It just needs to be like, oh, that sounds super interesting. I should go
It's all the messaging. Podcasts. Like now I'm seeing a surge even in the social space of really good copywriters coming back.
Really?
Of like just really good copy, because it could be a photo static post. There's no video, but like the thing they were showing had really good copy on it, and like that was a difference maker.
I feel like that's going to be like the rise of Substack.
Yeah.
Because people are going to be like, okay, I'm just so tired of watching stuff.
I'm going to read again.
I'm going to go read something written by a human.
And I know I keep talking about, people on the podcast don't know. I'm always talking about Substack because I'm like, this is the thing. And it's funny because now I'm seeing brands do it for social. Like Rare Beauty, another makeup brand, they launched a Substack.
Yeah.
And they're very candid about like, this is what we're doing. Like they're not intentionally making it as like, this is something for us to shove content down your throat and like force you to buy our product. It's more like, what do you guys want to learn today? Like, what kind of peek behind the curtain do you guys want? And it's like an actual two-way conversation between the fans or the followers or the consumers and the brand, and then they're churning content based on that. So now it's like fueling the whole thing. Like their ideas are coming from that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of
tough,
crazy,
man. Because you can still do video on there, but I do like this. It's like a progression. It's like people still want authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
So when a channel just gets completely bogged down and it's not authentic anymore, you're like, I can't actually get to authenticity anymore because it's so clogged with garbage. People trying to monetize, or people trying to be an influencer, or people being fake, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Then it just goes to a new channel that's then opened up, and it's like, oh, this feels good again, So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Substack and how it all fits in.
It's like even in the next 6 months, we might have to have a whole nother podcast topic just on it.
Yeah.
Based on where things go.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you'd want to throw out there for brands to know about social?
Anything else?
Does frequency matter?
It's so tough because there is like a reward system to posting consistently.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe not like as often, but there needs to be a consistent where it's like, I would start minimum once a week. Like set a realistic benchmark.
Yeah.
Then you can up it. I will say it also has to be good content. You can't just post bad stuff all the time because then you're going to turn everyone away. But I would say like one quality post a week and then scale it from there. However, if you're in a different vertical, like if you're sports, you need to post multiple times a day, like all the time. Same with certain like news outlets, politics, entertainment. You will like lose people if you're not current enough. So it's like a slippery slope. But if you're like a brand, you're selling product, I would say like quality stuff weekly. I maybe no more than daily, honestly.
Does visual consistency matter anymore? And I know that that's tough with a brand agency, but like, and then how much? Because I know it's like, there used to be this whole thing about like you wanted your grid to look a certain way.
Oh my gosh.
Do people even care about the grid anymore? Like
there is still
yes
like
and no, right?
Some care about the grid because when Instagram changed from square to vertical in the grid, people are still upset. People have been commenting the head of Instagram's Instagram to say, bring back, anytime I announce a new thing, they're like, bring back the grid. We curated our grid to fit the square and we need you to bring it back. So it's like so much drama. People still very much care about the grid. I always tell brands like, yes, it should look consistent if someone goes to your page, but when people do those things where it's like 9 posts create this image, don't do that.
Right.
Because you're going to constantly be like, I need to post 3 more times. The grid is broken. No one is looking for that. Excuse me. But I would say consistency. So like the Tower brand I mentioned earlier, they're doing these videos, which maybe doesn't look like all their graphics and photography, but their graphic treatment on like the opening or their thumbnail fits the brand. Mm-hmm. So I'd say like finding underlying themes, whether it's like your graphics package, the fonts that you're using, subtle ways to infuse it, great, but don't let it hold you back from trying something that's like totally out of your norm that you think will resonate with your
So it doesn't have to feel as rigid. It's almost like what I'm noticing is like it feels like when you see a film and the color palettes that are used in a film.
Yes.
It's like different scenes, similar colors. You don't even notice it, but it makes you feel a certain way. So like when you see that channel page, it's like a little bit of...
I actually love color presets.
Yeah.
If people do that, you don't even realize the whole grid is like so cohesive.
Yeah.
Like a friend of mine does all the photography for Austin, the MLS club. the photo preset is dialed in so well. If you look at the grid, it's like perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And it changes season by season. So you can like curate your own color palette of like this season we're going to be more gritty or darker this next season. And I think brands could do a better job of that too.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily like super, super strict on the brand guide, but it's more of a general feel and trying to apply that to your channel that you're on. And that could be different per channel.
Yeah.
So your Pinterest might be a little tighter.
Yeah.
But your Instagram and your TikTok could be crazy. And then your Instagram might be slightly different. So it's a little bit of everything. Okay. That's cool. Well, if that's it, I think that's it. Unless you have any parting words.
Until next time, I think. Until
next time,
social, we have a new platform. Who knows?
We'll have to come back and we'll talk some more because we'll have to.
We have to.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, well, that's it for this episode. And if you enjoyed this and you want to see more content like this, just go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we'll see you later.